Welcome, everybody, to this evening, Monday evening, the last week of October. I would like to, in addition to welcoming all of you, congratulate all of you for making this really first important step into considering graduate studies, whether at the master's level or the doctoral level. It's important to explore, and we are grateful and appreciative that you chose to join us and explore our program and what we can offer in your career and your professional development. We also very much appreciate that you're doing this while probably leading quite busy schedules and lives yourselves. I'm Sharon Glazer. I'm the program director for the Organizational Psychology PsyD and PsyM program. Joining me this evening are two faculty from our program, Dr. Allison Liu and Dr. Robert Emmerling. I'll have them introduce themselves in just a moment, but I also wanted to point out that we have additionally three of our graduate students joining us. We have Brandis Ruffin, Rutgers University student. We have Maria Baldova, also an RU Rutgers University student, and Jordan Zahora, also a Rutgers University graduate student. All three are in our doctoral programs. Here are our faculty. And I would like to ask that Dr. Liu, if you wouldn't mind presenting a little bit about yourself, and then Dr. Emmerling, if you could do the same.
Hello, everyone. My name is Hong Liu. You can call me Allison. I'm the full-time professor at the Department of Applied Psychology at GZAP Rutgers. My background is industrial and organizational psychology, basically applying psychology at work to understanding topics such as training, selection, job satisfaction, occupational stress. My specific background is called occupational health psychology. It basically helps employers and employees to understand their work-related stress and safety factors, and then improve their occupational well-being. I have a research lab which is called Dr. Liu's H&P lab. It stands for Happy and Productive work lab. So I have a few doctor students working in my lab, and my current project focus on how to facilitate good workplace relationships. And when you experience relationship barriers such as coworker mistreatment or abusive supervision, how you cope with the mistreatment and then live a better life. I'll stop here. I'll pass it to Dr. Emily.
Thank you, Song. My name is Robert Emmerling. I'm coming to you today from Barcelona, Spain, so it's kind of late where I am today. I am an associate professor of applied practice in the applied department here at GZAP. I'm actually an alum of the program, so I actually have a PsyD from 2003 from GZAP. So it's very good to be back here. I've been on the faculty here for the last 3 years. Prior to that, I was on the faculty of ESADE Business School here in Barcelona, where I still actually do some research and executive education for the business school there. I'm also the director and co-chair of the Consortium for Research on Emotional Intelligence in Organizations. So I co-chair that with Dr. Daniel Goleman. I've been associated, believe it or not, with that research lab for almost 30 years. That sounds like a long time because I became associated with it when I was a doctoral student, started in 1997. So almost 30 years. So 30 years later, I find myself to be the director, starting out as the junior research assistant. So most of my applied work is around leadership assessment, competency modeling, executive education, training and development. I work mostly outside the United States, so I have a lot of experience in working in India, Malaysia, throughout here in Europe, and also in the United States. So I will pass it back to Dr. Glazer at this point.
Thank you. And just to introduce myself a little bit more, I am a cross-cultural occupational health and stress researcher and scholar. My current research foci are in the domain of meaningfulness in life and how that influences the extent to which people's stressors affect the kinds of reactions, anxiety they may experience, and turnover and tension as well. I also have been looking at the challenge hindrance stressor appraisal, and just last week learned that a paper that we submitted for review was accepted. So I'm very excited about that. It's a diary study, which is really cool. And right now, I'm also embarking on a massive cross-cultural study with 9 countries and looking at aspects of abusive leadership and stressors, meaningfulness in life, trust and well-being and values across society, across cultures. I have a robust research team, and my lab is called the Kosher Lab, Cross-Cultural Occupational Stress and Health Research. I'd like to introduce you also to Dr. Preston Lindsay, who is not with us today. He's, I think, doing some consulting work. He's also a professor of practice, which means he's a consultant as a big part of his work, and he brings a lot of that organization development experience to the classroom and to the course of studies. And soon, hopefully to be doctor, but right now ABD, all but dissertation, is Katrina Montan. And she officially joins us January 1st as a faculty member and director of experiential learning. Her research is in the area of teams, organization development, competitive masculine environments and competition and health and well-being as well. Her focus is heavily in the domain of leadership and organization development and engages also in executive coaching. So we're very excited that she'll bring those skills to us when she joins us. Currently, she's also adjuncting one of the classes for us, organizational psychology, which she will be teaching next fall as well. Before I move on to introduce our program coordinator, just a minute. Brandis, could you just quickly say hello and some words?
Hi, everyone. I'm Brandis. I'm a first year student in the program pursuing a doctorate. I'm here to study how leadership and organizational systems shape the perception and enactment of justice, drawing on critical systems theories to understand how sustainable, justice-oriented change can be achieved within organizations and society. I'm still practicing this because, again, I'm a first year and loving my experience. So I'm delighted to be here with all of you. Thank you, Dr. Glazer.
Maria?
Thank you. My name is Maria Baldova. I'm a first year as well, a first year student at the PsyD program. And my main focus is on cross-cultural teams and also in wellness in the workplace.
Thank you. Jordan.
Hi everyone, I'm Jordan. I'm also a first year student. I came in with my research interests being primarily in the sexual harassment area, but also leadership development. My background's primarily in talent leadership development. I actually work as an HR generalist right now at Tractor Supply, so a lot of my work revolves around that. But since entering the program, I've done some really cool research in emotional intelligence. I'm doing an independent study on that right now. And then I've been doing some work in team science as well, and we just submitted our paper for publication. So hopefully we will be getting one out of that.
Oh, congratulations. Very exciting.
Yeah.
And many of you have potentially been in touch with Karen Cassio Harford. She is our organizational psychology program coordinator. Many of the questions that you may have about the program will often go to her first. And when she is unsure of answers to questions, she'll come to me or to any of the faculty to provide you the best guidance possible. She is your first line of communication as you try to learn more about the program, as you try to get more information, potentially assistance. But I will also emphasize the importance that we are faculty who care to reach out and connect with students. So while you may reach out to Karen and she can give you an answer potentially more promptly than the faculty can, if you have more detailed questions, want to reach out to us, do not hesitate to contact us. We love talking with and connecting with prospective students, as well as our current students and our past students, because we've graduated several and we love hearing from them as well. So for today's session, I'll be taking you on a brief tour of organizational psychology. What is IWOP, Industrial Work Organizational Psychology? What's the difference between a PsyD and a PhD? What is the PsyM compared to an MS or an MA? Where do the graduates go? Should you do a doctorate or a master's? How valuable is one over the other, or is there a benefit from a financial perspective? What's the financial benefit? We're going to talk about the OP program at Rutgers, about our core courses. What does it mean to be accessible to working adults? We're going to talk about what will get you through the door through our selection process, share with you about the curriculum, information for the doctorate and the master's curriculum, give a little bit on funding, how long does it take to graduate, we'll try to shed some light on internships, what happens after graduation, some initiatives that we've been exploring, where you to go to apply, and we'll hopefully have some time for breakout sessions for you to have some quality time with our graduate students to ask them questions without the faculty being there. That way you can ask them the nitty-gritty, the questions that you might not like the answers that we give because you won't believe us. So you can ask them and they will tell you the experiences. So what is industrial work and organizational psychology, IWOP? Many people may not have heard of IWOP before. Those who have perhaps gone out to the website for the Alliance for Organizational Psychology, have attended some conferences, perhaps. It's an inclusive term to involve the field of industrial and organizational psychology, as it's called generally in the United States. It's meant to be inclusive of the work and organizational psychology programs and field, as it's oftentimes referred to in most of Europe, not all of Europe, as well as South Africa, as well as Australia. It's a scientific study of human behavior in industries, work experiences, and organizations. We are focused on how we can bridge the science and the practice of the field of industrial work and organizational psychology, studying human behavior, human affect, human cognition, and the experiences in the workplace. And we try to solve problems in the workplace, challenges that people have in organizational settings, but we also have been heading toward a domain for the last 15 years of what's called humanitarian work psychology, HWP, where 64% of work eligible adults don't have jobs or are in precarious jobs, in gig employment. And as a field, we have largely neglected that camp of people. So IWOP also embraces the need and the research focus on the precarious workers to ensure decent work, which is part of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal number 8, focusing on decent work for people. So if you're interested in the doctoral program, a question might be, should I do a PsyD or should I do a PhD? What's the difference? Normally, students who come to PsyD programs want to have the advantage of a DR, doctor, in front of their name. They have a strong intention or desire to be with that doctorate and in the field as practitioners. Some also have a strong inclination and desire to be practitioner-oriented scholars and want to engage in scholarship, want to engage in teaching, the more practical side of the field. So there's a very much a practitioner orientation. Excellent OP practitioners, however, must have very strong methodological and statistical background, particularly in this day and age. So in our program, we do emphasize being able to run statistical analyses, important analyses in industry or in research that students in PhD programs will also be skilled at. The difference with the PsyD at Rutgers is that they will complete doctoral dissertations that are much more applied in nature, as opposed to theoretical variable relationships. Many might have an organization that they're already working in, or an organization that's of curiosity to them, and they're going to create an applied study. Does it have to be that way? No, but it is an opportunity to be that way. When you go to PhD granting institutions, oftentimes the metric is, do you have enough respondents? Do you have a good power for your study? And here we're saying, well, if you work in an organization that has 70 people and what you do is going to matter to them, that could also be potentially a sufficiently strong dissertation because it has practical relevance. I want to stop here to ask if Dr. Emmerling or Dr. Liu want to add any comments to that.
I can add a little bit. My experience, my motivation for going for the PsyD was to have a more practitioner oriented orientation, as Dr. Glazer has been saying. That said, I've spent literally half of my time consulting and half of my time in academia. I think the PsyD has really prepared me to live kind of in both worlds. Okay. And I've found my own practice and my own career that I do best when I'm able to go back and forth between both worlds. Being in one, being fully practice oriented or fully academic would probably not be a good fit for me personally. Um, so in a sense, the PsyD, if that's kind of what you're thinking, um, that's not the only model. I mean, you could be more practitioner oriented and be a consultant and things like that as well, more full time. That's certainly a career path that a lot of my peers have taken from the program. Um, it is, I think it's less common, although not impossible, to have a full academic career with the PsyD. Okay. But probably the PhD for someone who wanted to be a tenure track faculty member in a traditional department might be the more modal preparation for that type of career. Although some of our PsyD graduates are planning on seeking full-time employment as academics. So the practitioner focus that Dr. Glazer talked about, I think, is probably sums it up. So I'll probably let maybe Dr. Liu or Dr. Glazer say a little bit more about the PhD, perhaps, if they'd like. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Emmerling. Because we have a lot to cover, I'm going to move forward. Where do doctoral level graduate students go after earning their degrees? About 2/3 become practitioners, and about a third, or just over a third, go to work in academia. These data come from the 2021 SIOP salary survey. About every 5 to 10 years, SIOP will do a salary survey. I think it's also important to recognize the data were crunched by Humro in 2022. And in the current economic and political context, the sub-bullets, the numbers in the sub-bullets may be a little bit off. I know a lot of people in government, OP, IOP people in government jobs who were laid off because of changes in the government situation. We know, we just heard that 30,000 people at Amazon are going to be laid off, right? We don't know, we can't track it perfectly, but we know that historically, about 2/3 of people who earn a doctoral degree, a doctorate in organizational psychology or IO psychology, end up being practitioners. With a PsyD, it's a bit a stronger leaning toward practitioner than academia. Now, some of you may be asking, okay, so that's a PsyD PhD, but I'm interested in the master's degree. What's the difference between an MA and an MS and a PsyM? basically, in an MA, the course content is more theoretical, and it's considered a liberal arts degree designation. There may be some more general coursework in other areas of psychology. The Master of Science tends to be heavier on research, more research oriented, and will often culminate with a capstone project like a thesis. The SciM focuses specifically on the field of study within psychology, in this case, organizational psychology, and intentionally it's applied. Our classes have infused through most of our classes, the bulk of them, some experiential component. In my class, students are doing cross-cultural insights briefings. The students are going to take articles that are published and they're going to make it palatable to managers, making sure that managers have key takeaways. That's going to be an important feature of how do you translate what we study to the boardroom or in practice, in consulting practice. So the SciM, in a way, is an amalgamation of the MA and the MS. Its attention is no theory to drive application. I think that's a way to think about it. How do we use lessons from theory to drive applications, and how do we use lessons from practice to drive theory? Students who intend to obtain a doctorate and have the credentials to be admitted directly into a doctoral program, try to apply directly for a doctoral program. Having a master's is not a prerequisite for admission to most doctoral programs.
Dr.
Yeah.
There's a couple of questions that directly related to this was, that's why I'm jumping in here. Just what you're
Sure.
saying here about someone was asking, can you come directly with a bachelor's? I came directly with a bachelor's. So I know it's only an N of one, but yes, that was my path. So just as Dr. Glazer is saying, that is a viable path to come to the PsyD as well. So, and I think there was one other question. Someone's curious about what employers think about the difference on resumes between when they see a PhD versus PsyD.
For me, what I've found is employers care more about the experience and what you've actually done with the degree than the degree itself. So, like emphasizing the projects, the internships, like how you've actually applied it with those skills. And a lot of the more like research-oriented roles I've seen, like workforce science, for example, it'll often say like PsyD or PhD in the relevant field. So it's less the degree that matters, but more how you're able to explain the value that you gain from it.
I would echo that. I'm also in human resources and have been for about 20 years. I can say that when I was in academics as a HR director, of course, you had to have the terminal very highest PhD because that was the focus of teaching. With the PsyD, it's more about the consulting, the answering those critical in the moment, tell me right now because everything's gonna blow up if you don't tell me type of experience. So in typical OP form and fashion, it depends, but I completely echo Jordan's response.
Thank you. And you brought up the word consulting, so I want to make sure that we're all on the same page of what consulting is. You can be an external consultant, you can be an internal consultant. And an internal consultant could be someone who is literally helping and consulting to other business units, but you could also simply be a contributor within a business unit. So you are someone who has sufficient expertise within a domain that you are the person that is drawn upon for guidance, right? So consultant is not just the person who, like the Accenture or Booz Allen, you don't have to be someone from outside going to a company. You could be internal as well. Now, in terms of whether or not someone should pursue the doctorate or master's degree, can the master's degree stand alone? In our field, very fortunately, yes. You do not have to pursue a doctorate to be a professional in organizational psychology. However, for those who are interested in pursuing a doctorate in organizational psychology, you can earn the master's with us on the way to the doctorate. You don't have to. Some students will have some coursework, an MBA or a doctorate in business. And so many of your courses may end up transferring that you cannot earn a master's along the way. We allow, in order to get a master's, you can transfer up to 12 credits toward the master's degree. If you're transferring 15 or more credits, you no longer can earn the master's on the way to the doctorate. And in fact, you can transfer as much as 30 credits from other master's degrees. We have students who've come in with masters in org development and leadership, in IO psychology, with business, and have transferred up to that 30 credits toward the PsyD, and that's also a possibility. If you are interested in the master's along the way, don't transfer in as many credits. So it's really a choice that you'll have to make once you apply and are admitted to the program. So an advantage of completing a master's degree, like the one we offer at Rutgers, is that our coursework is practical. You get hands-on experience in activities and simulations and real activities, and you can count it toward your doctoral degree. Our doctoral degree is 72 credits. I'll show that slide in a moment, and the master's is 42. If you earn your master's at Rutgers with us in the OP program, you can transfer all 42 credits into the doctoral program. We cannot say that that will be the case if you decide to do a doctoral degree elsewhere. We cannot say that your master's from Rutgers will transfer. We cannot speak for other programs. What I can tell you is our coursework is rigorous, as relevant as coursework that you'll get in other doctoral and master's degree programs. So when faculty in other programs know who your professors are, know the kind of courses they offer, they may choose to transfer allow your classes to transfer because they know that we're offering the same level of rigor. So you can transfer the RUOP Masters elsewhere if that program permits it. And just like we cannot guarantee that we'll accept your credits from another institution until we see your syllabi, your transcript, and how those credits are counted. Okay, so where do master's level graduates go after earning their degree? Again, this is from the 2021 SIOP salary survey, from the executive summary that Humro wrote. Nearly 98% who have a master's degree end up working in the applied sector, with most of those who are working in the technology sector earning the best salaries at around $122,000. That's the median salary. So you can do quite well in the technology sector with a master's degree. The salary findings also show that on average, this is just to let you know, SIOP salary survey is based on SIOP, Society for Industrial and Organizational Psychology. That's Division 14 of the American Psychological Association, the premier association for our discipline, which is SIOP. That SIOP salary survey is based on responses from its membership, right? So not everyone who earns an IO psychology or organizational psychology degree are members of SIOP. The doctoral level respondents had a mean salary of $137,000, and the master's level respondents had about $100,000. I'm going to break that down soon. One of the things that is really interesting to note is that the differential has been narrowing substantially. So the growth in salary for master's levels degree holders has been a lot stronger than the growth in salary for doctoral degree holders. You can see this up here on this slide. In 2021, you can see that this was a much sharper change for the masters. And on this slide as well, the master's income, you can see here that for doctoral degree holders, it rose by nearly 10% from 2018, and master's level salaries rose by 12.5% since 2018. The median income for master's level respondents increased more than the median income for doctoral level respondents from 2018 to 2021. So leaving the program with a master's degree, you will still make a really nice salary. So the doctoral degree holder within their first 2 years is earning $100,000. The median is $100,000, while the master's degree holder who didn't stay for 2, 3 more years to do a doctorate at that same time frame, right? They were already earning pretty close, 87,000, to what the doctoral degree holder is. And about 10 and 15 years later, you can see that the salaries are almost the same. And the reason this differential is, again, the master's degree holder is going to enter the workforce 2 to 3 years before the doctoral degree holder. Right. So you can see that ultimately the salaries are almost evening up. And as Jordan was saying, the experience is what matters. And your salary increases the stronger your experience becomes. Here for the doctoral degree holders going into practice, what you can see is your professors are sacrificing a lot to be faculty, because in industry we could be making a lot more money, which is again why we straddle the fence. And the benefit of the program at Rutgers is your faculty do get involved in consulting or contract work, is that it keeps us sharp. It keeps us able to talk with you about current trends in industry. I have turned down contracts on many, many occasions when there was no benefit for me learning and being able to bring that learning to the classroom. On the next slide here, this is, as I mentioned, all from 2021, but the Bureau of Labor Statistics shows that the IO psychology professional is next in line to a bunch of people with managers after their name. So their earning potential is pretty darn close to people who are managers, and they're not yet management. The mean salary, according to the May 2024 BLS statistic, is 134,000 per year, and the median almost 110,000 per year. And this is not based on PSYOP membership. This is labor statistics. Is the doctorate worth it? Nearly 98% of students earning a master's will work as practitioners. The median income for practitioners is about 20% higher than for academics. The median income was highest for independent consultants with doctorates at, yes, a whopping $350,000. The median income was highest for master's level practitioners in the technology sector. Academics in business schools, by the way, had a higher median income than those in psychology departments. The median income for academics in business schools is around $144,000. And for those in psychology departments, it's $92,000. Okay, so that's the big picture about our field. Let's get into the program at Rutgers. Maybe some of this is new. The things that we just said was new to some of you. Maybe it was repeat. So now let's get into Rutgers. Why should you join Rutgers? First of all, we're building a program of excellence, one that will help you perform anywhere you choose to go, whether it's in practice, in academia, in terms of practice, whether you're going to be in government or technology, or in technology, I mean high tech, or in state spheres or nonprofit organizations. It requires a great deal of investment, a lot of reading, a lot of preparation. And that's because we want to launch you into being the strongest professionals you can be. So our program leverages a lot of this wonderful resources that we have at Rutgers, whether it's the library or the wellness office or the Office of Graduate Student Life. We have lots of opportunities. It's a 60-something thousand person student institution, very reputable institution with growing campuses. The GAZAP stands for Graduate School of Applied and Professional Psychology. The GAZAP's OP programs aim to be the premier doctoral and master's programs in the nation. So that's our vision. And our mission is to really help you bridge science and application, equip graduate students with competencies that traverse professional, organizational, and national cultural boundaries by emphasizing theory to guide practice, practice to guide theory, always with a focus on creating and promoting a human-centered, high-performance workforce and healthy organizations. So that's our mission. And this is a picture, by the way, of an event that we held last March. Every March we have a low residency. It's a requirement of the students to come together, and we'll talk about that later. And this is a picture with whoever remained as the evening was coming to a close when we remembered we need a picture. Coupled with this incredible practical experience that you'll have, the OP program also offers students to work with faculty on research. And here you have Dr. Liu and Vi Feng, who is a graduate student of ours, presenting at the European Association for Work and Organizational Psychology this last May. And here is a little screenshot of my lab, the kosher lab that I was mentioning before. On this slide, I want to share with you a picture of Dr. Emmerling and Dr. Carrie Chernis, who is the professor emeritus of the GAZAP Organizational Psychology program. And on the right side here, we have Jenny Lee, who was one of our current graduate students. She's working on her dissertation. And all of them have published a emotional intelligence in the workplace special issue in the journal Consulting Psychology, called Consulting Psychology Journal. So we're all very proud. You'll see us, join us on LinkedIn, and we send lots of messages to people who are connected with us. And Dr. Lindsay has his Otis lab, Organizational Trauma Intervention Studies lab. And last year, he and a former graduate student, Adam Ben Hanania, published a special issue on this topic of organizational trauma in Organization Development Review. And here are some more information about some of our students. We have lots of opportunities. Aruna Krishnan, for example, was helping engage in the wellness connection. She brought karaoke and brought to life some exciting opportunities for relaxation. The same with Alex Gamble. In this particular picture, he's positioned here, showcasing the work that he had done as Matt Choquette as well. Both Alex Gamble and Matt Choquette graduated just this past May, and Matt is already adjuncting. He is a part-time lecturer for the Applied Psychology program. So our students will develop competencies not only as guided by SIOP, the Society for IO Psychology, but also as guided by the European Network for Organizational Psychology that have a reference model that really emphasizes work in organizational psychology and the bridge between science and practice. We also use the Consulting Psychology Division 13 of the APA, American Psychological Association, to give us some guidance on how to prepare students for the internal or external consulting world. We also drawn some best practices from ODN, Organization Development Network, and other org development programs to really round out the organizational psychology experience. Our program is called Organizational Psychology, not Industrial and Organizational Psychology, for multiple reasons. One of those is that even PSYOP debates whether to keep the I in its name. About, I guess it was 20 years now, or almost 20 years ago, there was a survey that went out. Do we want to keep the I or not? And people were split whether we keep it. The O got added in 1980, and the I has been struggling to stay or leave. We don't know what we want, but the important piece here is if we're going to be O, organizational psychology, we have to be well-rounded also in organization development and know how to bridge the science and the practice in the domain of organizational psychology. I'm going to show you all the curriculum in just a moment, but I want to make sure that you're all aware that our program is friendly to working adults. Many PhD programs, as well as MS and MA programs, require students to be full-time, only there, not working. We don't believe that people know their trajectory for doctoral degrees right out of their undergraduate studies. Some do, and that's lovely, and that's wonderful. We also understand that students, if they do leave the undergraduate programs, have to earn their way to be able to pay for their studies. So to be friendly doesn't mean that we reduce the quantity of reading assignments and activities and ways that we assess you. What it means is that we offer our classes in the afternoon around 3:30 until about 9 p.m., 9:30, depends on the schedule, but usually 3:30 to 9. And we also make the program such that you don't have to do a full course of study. You can take 2 classes per semester. You don't have to do 3 courses, which is considered a full course of study. We want you to be successful. The aim for us is not a marathon and killing yourself over your studies, but learning, developing your knowledge and skills, and being able to have confidence when you graduate that you have it. Some students can thrive working 30 or more hours a week and taking 3 classes. I know I could not, and a lot of students can. It's very hard. So we do recognize it and we do permit it, whereas many other programs, especially PhD programs, don't permit you to work as well. The program is 42 credits for the master's, 72 credits for the doctorate. I'll stop here to ask if there are any questions. Dr.
Quickly,
Yeah.
sorry, Dr. Glazer. So the time that you have here, 3:30 to 9 in the evening, if you were to take, I'm curious, kind of how many days a week is that with a kind of a regular course load? If you're taking 2 or 3, is it, if you take 2 instead of 3, is it kind of 3:30 until sometime before 9 p.m.? I'm just kind of curious how that plays out.
Yeah, that's excellent. Thank you for asking that clarifying question, and nice to see you again, Michael. The classes will, for the exact time currently, the classes begin at 3:35 and end at 6:05 for the afternoon classes. And the next class, the evening class, begins at 6:15 and ends at 8:45. So what that means is if you're taking 2 classes, they may both be at 3:35. They may all be at 6:15. It may be a mix and match of those times depending on the courses. And again, a lot of it depends on what we transfer in from other institutions. If you're not having any coursework transferred in from other institutions, the first semester you'll be taking, and I'll show this to you in a moment, the Introduction to Organizational Psychology course, Cross-Cultural Organizational Psychology, and Research Methods and Statistics 1. But if you're transferring classes, then we try to mix and match the classes throughout the semesters, but we won't always please everyone. So I'll share with you what our program looks like in a moment here. What I want to touch on right now is what makes my application stand out. Do students with a master's degree have an advantage over those with a bachelor's? The answer is no. If you have an undergraduate bachelor's degree in psychology and you've been doing research, or you have an undergraduate degree in HR with a minor in psychology or whatever it may be, and you're doing research with the faculty, you're probably going to be as competitive as someone coming in with a master's in counseling psychology. What we get to know from that person is that they can do a master's degree. What we get to know from the first person is that they can get involved and they have a deep understanding of psychology and have some experiences doing research. So we look at the whole package. We care to see your statement. We care to read the letters of recommendation. We look at your transcripts. We look at the kind of courses you chose to attempt to take. We look at your grades on your courses. We look at if, some students say, oh, but I earned a C in stats, will that hurt my application? Well, it's definitely not going to help your application, right? A C is not a good thing, but can you explain? Give us in your statement explanation of courses that you didn't perform as well as you would have liked to, but where your motivation is. We look at the whole package when we evaluate students. We want to see your authentic self when you complete your statement of interest and your motivation. So we look at the whole package. We want to read and know who your authentic self is. And then the students who are applying for the doctoral program, if you've passed one of our hurdles, the next path is to be shortlisted for and be invited for an interview. The interview will be done with the faculty member, and then we combine ratings and we review the ratings all together as a faculty, and we look to see we look for fit for the program. We look for fit for your goals. Can we give you what you want? If your statement is going to be all about, I want to be a clinical psychologist, and then somewhere in between you started writing about your interest in organizational psychology, and we're like, okay, good grades, good research work, clinical, not sure about that. We want to learn more about you. We learn about, and then as a community of faculty, we come together and we talk about the interviews, we talk about your package, and we decide, yeah, you know what, this person did talk about clinical psychology a lot, but we think the person really still fits because they want to be able to run a clinical practice and want to engage in leadership development. And so maybe, but we might also find from the interviews, no, you really want to be a therapist. Then we'll know that perhaps this is not the right fit because we are not license oriented. Our students in our program cannot get licensed as psychologists, as mental health professionals. Organizational psychology is a degree field, does not license. We will take about 6 to 8 students for the PsyD and roughly 15 students for the PsyM, give or take a few, but we can go as high as 20. We ideally would like to have at least 8, but usually we will admit around 15 students. The OrgPsych website presents information on the qualifications. And you're welcome to peruse it. At the end of this talk, you'll have a QR code that you can take a picture if you didn't take it already, and to get to our website and see what is required of the application. Here's the curriculum at a glance for the doctoral students. A 72 credit hour program, and students will take some fundamentals. They'll take foundational courses, 15 credits, statistics and research methods. That's 3 quantitative stats and methods, and one qualitative course as well in methods and qualitative analysis. They'll take 2 courses in org development, and then we are going to expose you to a variety of different class options throughout each semester that students would be able to take that focus on IWAP or focus on org psychology practice or org development. In the doctoral program, students will be taking a comprehensive examination. Usually, if they're full-time, it'll be at the end of their second year before their third year begins, ideally. And then there are at least 9 credits taken for dissertation. That's at the minimum. And then you have 3 courses as electives, or 9 credits of electives. Those electives can be fulfilled through experiential learning. So in addition to 3 credits that are required, you might take 6 additional credits, so 9 credits total. Or instead of 9 credits as the minimum for dissertation, you might do 15 credits because your dissertation is just that complex that it takes you, you need the credits to demonstrate it, or you take additional classes. At the end of May, early June, there'll be a study abroad. That will be 3 credits. It's a very accessible study abroad opportunity. It's 1 week. This is a from a Saturday to Friday program. Some students end up staying longer in Europe. If they like being there, they are welcome to. We don't force anyone to come back by a certain date unless they're taking classes. So there are different ways that we offer our programs and different ways to fulfill the requirements and gain and fulfill part of our mission of an international, national culture and organizational culture. The master's program is 42 credits. You'll be taking some of the same classes in org psych with the doctoral students. In fact, most of the first 2 years are side by side, master's and doctoral students together. And where things differ is that it obviously 30 credits, no dissertation, no comprehensive exam. Experiential learning is embedded in our coursework, but we don't require you to do an internship. You can, and that can count as an elective, but it's not a requirement. This is what the fundamentals and core courses look like for the doctoral program. If you want it, you are welcome to take a screenshot. This is exactly what the advising form looks like. And you'll see in a minute that the master's core and fundamental list the same ones. But whereas the doctoral students, for example, have to take cross-cultural org psych and occupational stress and health, master students get to choose one or the other. Can they take both? Absolutely. If they take both, one of those will count as an elective. The students choose between organization diagnosis and systems theory, or they can take both. If they do, then one of those two will count as an elective. And then these are examples of courses in areas 1 and 2. Just to give you an idea, in the spring, we have a course that was just approved in motivation and leadership. And so that will be offered in the spring. And we have on the books already executive coaching, and that's going to be offered in the spring. In the fall, going to be offering training and development in the fall. We are now in the midst of our first full year of the master's terminal program. And so all the students who were admitted into this first year are guinea pigs to see how they're doing. And I can speak from experience of my classes that they are doing very well.
One other question from the chat also was with the psychology prerequisites for someone who's not coming from a psychology background or might not have psych related courses. How do we deal with that?
Thank
Or
you.
what is the
So I appreciate that question. The prerequisite is to having at least one research methods and or stats course, preferably in behavioral sciences, psychology, ideally. And the other is to have 2 content courses, a minimum of 2 undergraduate level content courses. We do, where can you take them? There are community colleges tend to have very economically priced undergraduate courses that gives you some of that exposure to undergraduate level courses in psychology. What kind of courses, other than the obvious introduction to psychology, social psychology is an excellent one, personality and individual differences, human development, psychopathology at the undergraduate level could be a good one, besides the obvious intro to IO psychology, right, as an obvious one at the undergraduate level, but most community colleges don't offer that one. Well, hopefully it answers the question. So you can take it in many different places. There are some online programs, but it has to be an accredited institution, right? You cannot do Coursera and say you've finished it because it's not an accredited program. Here is a sample 4-year schedule for the full-time PsyD student. This is broken into 4 years, fall and spring. If you are a full-time doctoral student and want to take classes in the summer, you are more than welcome to do that. You may be able to finish your course of studies in 3.5 years if you're doing full time with summer classes, potentially even 3 years. I'm not suggesting you rush it. I'm just saying it is possible. I'm not showing you the summer classes here. You'll see them when I show the Sci-M program example. But what if you're working full time or even part time and only want to take 2 classes? Here's an example schedule for the part time PsyD. Again, I'm not showing you the summer. So maybe the 6 years will become 5 years if in between each year you take in the summer a course. So it may be 5 years instead of 6 years. Can it take longer? Well, the university, if you're a doctoral student, does have a requirement that you be done your doctoral degree in 8 years. For the full-time master's student, assuming 3 courses per semester, you will have to take summer classes unless you get permission to take 4 in a semester. We do not recommend 4 in a semester because the classes are quite challenging. Again, if you are not working full time or all you want to do is study and not play, then that's your decision. But here is an example of a schedule for the full-time Sci-M. You may notice that these courses, the Org Psych, Cross-Cultural Org Psych, Research Methods, Stats 1 are the ones that I was saying all students take their first semester, unless they're doing it part-time. If they're taking only 2 classes, then the 2 in pink are the ones that they would take in the fall. And this is the sample for a part-time student. Someone doing 2 courses per academic semester and 1 course in the summer can be done in 3 years. So the program is quite doable. The beginning seems longer than the end, obviously, but in the beginning, the first semester, it's like, oh my God, I can't believe it. I know that's how I was. Oh my God, more torture. It's going to be long. This is such a long road. And when you become a second-year student, you're like, wow, that just happened. It's done. The first year is done before you know it, and now you're pedantic. You're looking at things. You are ready to rock and roll. You're a strong student. You're a strong practitioner. You're getting your skills. You're getting your wings. You're learning to fly. You're stronger and better, and you don't even know how that happened. And it's one of the most beautiful metamorphoses we as faculty get to observe with our students year after year. Our teaching modality, I know that was a question. We are hybrid. Our program is synchronous, not asynchronous. There will be times, for various reasons, that maybe a faculty may have to record lectures here or there, or they're at a conference and don't want you to miss content of the benefit of the lecture. We are required as faculty to engage in what's called 45 contact hours for your 3 credit hour classes. So we're synchronous. It's hybrid, which means we meet with our students in person for some classes. About half of our classes or half of the ones that we teach without exams may be in person. The other half are going to be online. What happens for the student who lives in Tennessee?
I just Zoom in for all of my classes, so some are hybrid.
Now, there is one requirement. Orientation in September is a requirement that you come in person. All students must come in person for orientation. And the second in-person engagement is what's called low residency. It's a requirement of our program as it was established. It's a 2-day program, starts Sunday evening, goes till Tuesday night. This is a really wonderful opportunity because this opportunity also brings our alumni back to the campus to meet with our students, to network with our students. By the way, our alumni network with our students in other ways. One, teaching, like Dr. Emmerling. Next spring, we have another alum who's going to be teaching for us. He has 20 years at City doing leadership development, leadership coaching and executive coaching. Those are his strengths, and he's bringing that practitioner orientation. He now does private consulting after 20 some years at Citi. So he brings that experience, and we want our students to connect with our alumni because our alumni become your network for jobs. Funding. We do not currently fund graduate students in OP. Actually, all of GZAP cannot guarantee funding. We're not a program that can guarantee. However, historically, the Dean's Office has provided some funding for first-year doctoral students. We also offer presidential graduate fellowships. We have the Bunch Award that students can earn and get. You don't have to apply specifically for it. We get your application and we review it, and then a student is awarded. Faculty may have various funding opportunities to cover based on grants they may have received. And then there are lots of free scholarship tools. And I put together a huge list of other funding opportunities out there that I'm happy to share with all of you. So how long will it take me to graduate? Again, it depends on you. Assuming you're making good progress in your classes and you're studying and you're doing everything you need to do, it will take anywhere from 4 to 6 years for the doctoral students, potentially 3.5 to 6 years for the doctoral student taking the full 72 credits with us, not considering what they transfer in. It could take for the master students 2 to 3 years, again, depending on if they're taking the full 42 credits and if they want to work full-time, part-time at the same time or not. So we don't recommend working full-time and doing a full course of studies. We can't dictate to you what you do, but we don't recommend it. We do recommend if you're working fewer than 20 hours per week, that you consider doing 3 courses per semester. Various caveats. You might be a caretaker. You might have care for elderly parents or grandparents. Various reasons that we all have, whether we do full-time or part-time. And this is where some of our students have gone in the past. Dr. Liu and I hail from other graduate programs. We both came in, Dr. Liu came in from Hofstra and I came in from University of Baltimore, and before that San Jose State. So we both are, in addition to Dr. Emmerling, who is connected throughout Europe, Dr. Liu and I are connected throughout United States with many graduate students from many different programs across the nation. So I have student connections, and students have gotten internships at HP, Google, Culture Amp, Netflix, Tesla, you name it. We have people at CIA, we have people at FBI, at NSA, government agencies. We have people at Citibank, by the way, just actually one of my former graduate students, master's at San Jose, went to do his PhD with Dr. Liu at Hofstra and then went for an internship at Citi. So, it's a small world. We're interconnected. And with the director of experiential learning, it's going to be even better. The person will be helping students find and connect to work opportunities. Job titles, you're not going to find one consistent job title. People may start off in HR and be called an HR generalist. Some people will go into organizational effectiveness groups. People will go into engagement. People will go into leadership development, into executive coaching. Their performance management, and is now called total reward management for benefits packages and performance. The terms change constantly. The job titles change constantly. We are jacks of all trades as organizational psychology professionals. We can go into hospitals, we can go into banks, we can go into consulting firms. We need to learn how people work. We can go into the United Nations, which is something I do as pro bono consulting. I do pro bono consulting with the United Nations. We go in there and try to help things out there. So there are so many different things that we could be doing with our degrees, master's or doctoral degrees, that this is just to give you a little flavor, a little taste. Students who earn a PsyM but love data, we would recommend that you take Research Method Stats 2 just to strengthen your stats skills as an elective, because there are going to be times where stats is going to be necessary. A lot of my students graduated working at Prometric or OPM, which is the U.S. Office of Personnel Management. They prefer hiring master's degree holders in larger numbers. They do hire doctoral degree holders, but in larger numbers, they bring master's people in. And those people do data analyses. If you don't like data analyses, statistical data analyses, that's okay. You're going to have qualitative course and you'll be able to do some strength in listening, consulting. We have different initiatives in our program. One of those initiatives, well, I can say it actually was accomplished. We are now recognized as a STEM. So a student who wants to come from another country, they'll be able to stay in the United States for 3 years, as opposed to just a maximum of 2 years. We have the study abroad. We have an MOU with our Latin European institutions that's going to take effect in 2027. We have a strong, robust wellness set of programs, and one of the areas that I'm hoping will be able to move forward, depends on how things are going for the National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health, is creating an occupational health focus and certificate. We're creating lots of partnerships across campus, organizational leadership, School of Management and Labor Relations. We're creating partnerships with the Office of Graduate Student Life, with the Office of Wellness, and local partnerships with various organizations and companies. And this is the slide I said you can capture the QR code to find out how you can apply. And I want to emphasize, when you apply for the doctoral degree program, there will be a place for you to mark that you would like to be considered for the master's program. If you're applying to the PsyD, applications are due January 31, and you simply mark that you want to be considered for the PsyM if you're not admitted to the PsyD. If you want to apply only for the PsyM, that application is due by May 1st. We start looking at applications March 1st, and anyone who applies until May 1st, they get full consideration, and we look at additional applications that we get after May 1st, if space is still available. We welcome you to apply to our programs. Now, also another important caveat. You can apply to the PsyD and PsyM in organizational psychology simultaneously. However, if you think I might want school psychology, and I'm happy if I get into school psychology, and I'm happy if I get into org psychology, you have to choose one. You cannot apply for organizational psychology and school psychology, one or the other. You cannot apply for organizational psychology and applied psychology Masters of Applied Psychology. You can't do the two at the same time, either org psych or any of the other programs. The only thing you can do doubling of is within our own program, org psych, PsyD and PsyM, you can apply simultaneously. That way you don't have to ask for more transcripts and more letters of recommendation. It's all there. We see it. We don't need you to double up there.
And one other question about GRE and testing requirements for the program.
No GRE. We don't even bother sending them in. Save your money. So quickly, just to let you know, again, Karen Cassio-Harford, your first point of contact, jot her email, let her know that you're interested in connecting, wanting to learn more. If you want to meet with me directly, feel free to email me. Quickly, my email is here, sharon.glazer@rutgers.edu. If any of you are in town, in New Brunswick, Piscataway, we're on Bush campus, and want to meet us, to visit, don't hesitate to try to set up a time for us to be there and meet with you. We're happy to do that. Oh, by the way, this is our picnic from our first day on September 2nd, was it? I'm going to stop here, and I'm going to just create a breakout room, 3 breakout rooms. Welcome back. Are there any questions, Jordan, Maria, Brandis, that you feel that we should make sure everyone hears the answer to?
And just a couple of really quick questions coming in the chat. Are there any waivers for application fees? I'm not sure about
I,
that.
I, I think so Karen is here. I didn't realize she had arrived. So Karen, if you can unmute and say hello.
I can, what I do when people ask that is I forward them to graduate admissions, and then they'll be able to help you from there, as far as getting a waiver.
So definitely be sure to email Karen to request that.
Yes, and I'll forward you the information of who to contact.
And the other kind of outstanding, this came a couple times in the chat and is coming again here, so that's good. So thank you for reminding me. So the when will people hear back about whether they've been accepted or not?
For the PsyD program, the faculty begin reviewing applications roughly February 1st. We actually don't begin application review on February 1st. Karen helps to divvy up and organize and pull all and extract all the information, make sure that everyone's content is there, that we're not missing any information. And once she says to us, okay, all the information is available for these applicants, then we begin reviewing applications. It takes us about 2 weeks to review applications, and then we start calling for interviews. Those interviews will happen anywhere between end of February to early March, and students will typically hear a response by the end of March. For the master's program, we will start reviewing those roughly the third after spring break. And now it's also after low residency, because our low residency this year is the Monday and Tuesday after spring break. So it'll be sometime after the following week that we're going to start reviewing PsyM. So the students applying for the master's degree should be hearing by mid-April, mid to the end of April, the admission decision. And as I said before, we review in full all applications that come in May. So even if we hit our magic number of 15, we will continue to give equal consideration to all applications that we receive by May 15, which could mean that we have a class of 25.
One of the things I shared was the composition of my personal statement. I included what I knew I wanted to research. I included my professional experience. And I told my story, and how it all interconnected. So tell your story, honestly, is really what it comes down to. The peaks and the valleys. I think that it all adds to an appreciation for what you will bring to the program.
And I want to add, if you don't know what you want to study, you want to know, you want to do OP, but you don't know what within OP you want to research, especially if you're a master's student and you don't want to do research. You want to just get out with a master's degree. We don't need to know that you know what you want to do with that master's or doctoral degree yet. It's okay not to know. It's okay to be, like I wrote before in the slide, we want your authentic self. And as Brandis hears me all the time, do not let Gen AI help you tell your story. We want your authentic self. We want to know. Now, can you use AI to help with grammar and syntax and structure? Yes, but don't let AI dictate who you are. Be your own agent. Please don't let a machine tell you who you are. Other comments or questions that you were on?
We talked about if the virtual experience is just as meaningful or how it's different compared to being in person. And from my perspective, I've still been able to make some really great connections. Like sometimes it takes on my part, reaching out to people, but honestly, the group projects in our classes, you're really able to meet everybody. And I was sharing that by the time that I got to the residency, I already felt like I had met them all in person, but that was a great way to just bring everybody together. So I definitely wouldn't say it's a deterrent at all. If anything, sometimes it's more helpful.
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
there's all kinds of WhatsApp groups going on the side. Don't tell Dr. Glazer.
I don't know any WhatsApp groups going on. I'm in the dark, totally.
Sorry. So in our group, we also discussed work and life balance, and it's doable. And there is a lot of support from the faculty here. So always reach out. There are lots of connections and networking happening.
Yeah, every student has their own story. We have students who are in the midst of planning their weddings. We have students who are having babies, and we have students who live with their parents telling them what to do and not having any, we have everyone's story is so unique and special, just as the faculty stories are unique and special. So, our aim is to be as supportive as we can to help you thrive through our program, and we will push you to work hard. This is your playground. Our program is your playground to make mistakes and to grow so that you don't make mistakes which you will, but you won't make horrible, colossal mistakes when you get out of our program, right? So we want you to be challenged, and we want you to grow. Other comments, questions?
There was one question I didn't know how to answer. How competitive are the scholarships?
Very. We don't have many scholarships available. And the president's so actually the scholarships that we have available you don't even know you're competing for them. It's basically the faculty are given the criteria, and we are looking at your application. So your statement is going to heavily drive the order in which people are ranked to be getting scholarship. The presidential scholarship is for students who are studying full time. So if you are letting us know that you're going to be part time, you cannot get the presidential scholarship. And if you say you're going to be full time and you get the presidential scholarship, and then you go to half-time or part-time, that scholarship will be removed from you, right? So it's not like you can tell us one thing and get something, and then it's not even us who does it. Again, be authentic. We recognize that not everyone can take a full load, and we do our best to help find opportunities. And with Katrina Montan joining us, we are hopeful that we'll find more and more opportunities on and off campus. I really appreciate all of you sticking around and being with us. Again, this is an important step in your journey, and you have one a new path to carve and figuring it out. And I want to thank my graduate students, Brandis, Jordan, and Maria, Dr. Emmerling and Dr. Liu. Really appreciate, and Karen, my right hand, my left hand, everything about this program cannot be done without Karen. So a huge thank you to all of you. And Brandis, thank you for acknowledging, because truly Karen is the best. And really appreciate all of you. Appreciate all the students the folks who are interested in our program joining. Have a wonderful evening.